So Sunny Hostin's memoir, I Am These Truths, is finally out today. And so my first question to you, Sunny, is what made you decide to write about your life now?
Well, Whoopi, I think that we're living in a time when people are feeling really desperate and hopeless. People are losing their jobs, they're losing family members. And I know that I have felt that way. I have had a hard life, as many of my close friends know, and as many of you know. And my life hasn't been easy. And I was born to teenage parents in poverty, in the projects. I saw my uncle stabbed in front of me. And I've had more failures than successes. And I thought that if I could tell my story, warts and all, but despite all of it, I've been able to succeed and remain true to myself, that if it could help, that story could help someone feel a little more hopeful in today's day, that it would be worth sharing all of that. And that's why I decided to write it.
Okay, Joy.
You know, Sunny, I have to tell you, and I told you I did read your book. And I really thought it was a page-turner. Seriously. So good. You're such a good writer. So we all know and love you as the Afro-Latina on this show, with a little Jewish thrown in, I noticed. But you say your identity is constantly being questioned. In the book, you talk about it a lot. And it was dismissed by various groups, even by viewers on social media. Why do you think it's so hard for people to sort of embrace that you can be both Puerto Rican, black with a little bit of Jewish? And how did you find a sense of belonging through all of that?
I don't know that I've ever really found a sense of belonging, actually, because when you're sort of, excluded from groups historically throughout your entire life, it's hard to find that sense of belonging. I realize now that the reason I think it's been so hard for people to understand where I come from is because, and Whoopi and I've discussed this, the Loving case from the Supreme Court, when a black person was allowed to marry a white person, came down in 1967. My parents got married in 1968. I was born in 1968. So when I was born, I was quite the unicorn, right? Now there are a lot of people like me that are biracial, but then there weren't. Right. And so people did constantly ask me, what are you? Who are you? And it just continues today. We just showed, that viewers today still question who I am, what I am, why do I speak Spanish, why do I speak with a Latina accent? Well, it's because Spanish is my first language. Why do I identify with, when we talk about Judaism? Well, my grandfather was Jewish. That is why I think, Joy, people struggle with my identity so much. And I think it's something that needs to be explored and talked about more in this country, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, Sunny, I loved your book as well. It's very brave and it's very raw, though. I don't know if people necessarily get that from the title. I mean, you could have easily just written like a puffy book, but it's very intense. I've worked with you for going on 4 years straight, and there's a lot of things I did not know about you, and a lot of things that I think it's very raw that you are opening up about. You have these memories that, again, I mean, you just brought up watching your uncle being stabbed in front of you when you were a little girl, among a lot of things that you had to go through, but now you are a beloved host of The View. So what was the most difficult chapter for you to write? And did you have any hesitations about sharing things that are just so intimate and so personal?
I was very hesitant to write it, most of it, actually. My mom saw the book and read the book and actually didn't speak to me for about a week. I know you're watching it, Mom, because she felt that it was so personal and too personal. But the hardest chapter was my book on motherhood. I actually narrated the audiobook and I sobbed in the booth after I narrated it. And it's because I struggled with infertility for a really long time. And I had 5 miscarriages. And I almost lost our son, Gabriel, while I was pregnant. And I was on bed rest for the majority of that pregnancy. And I fell into this deep depression. And I have this empathy now for women and people in general that suffer from depression, because I felt like dying, while what should have been my most precious time in my life wasn't. And I write about it in the book because we need to talk about these things. I know we talk about things on this show that people don't talk about, but I hope to open up sort of a national discussion about a lot of these things that women hold, I think, too closely to their hearts. And we need to share more of that with each other. So I'm just hopeful
Sarah,
that this book will help people.
And I know that we're
Sarah,
out of time,
can we
so I
get
don't
your question?
Well, I don't get to jump in here, Sonny, but I have to say, with all that we know about you, you'd think there'd be more love for you, considering you are a part of so many different groups. And being on this side of you, I feel your book should have been named No Bueno, but that's just me. But congratulations, Sonny, and good for you for sharing all of this, because it will help people.
Thank you, my friend.
And so, as Sarah just said, thank you, Sonny. Your memoir, her memoir, I Am These Truths, is out today. It's available at Latinx independent bookstores and other outlets.